I'm also a noted Los Angeles trial lawyer, and I am a podcaster. Yes, I have a podcast called Fighting Words, which is affiliated with Hugh Hewitt, and Unredacted, which is behind the paywall at Town Hall. But you know who else is podcasting? And everybody's doing this, and I'm fascinated by it. It's Senator Marsha Blackburn, who's back. Senator Blackburn, welcome back. I wanted to bring you back to talk about your podcast.
Well, I appreciate that. And I tell you, we knew there were so many freedom fighters out here. And I would be in Tennessee and people would say, Marsha, who is out there fighting with you to preserve this country and preserve our freedoms? And I thought, you know what? I ought to do a podcast so we can pick out some of these freedom fighters and talk a little bit about their story, how they grew up, how they came to be involved in public policy and in politics, and the type difference that they are seeking to make to preserve this country and to preserve our freedoms, because as you well know, this election and what we see happening in the Georgia Senate races, we're either going down this path to socialism or we're going to continue to fight for freedom.
Heck yes, Senator Blackburn. 30 years ago, right now, I was just arrived in the Persian Gulf as part of the mighty United States Army 7th Corps. We would eventually go through the Gulf War, and I eventually come back. I deployed again after 9/11. I got to say, freedom's not just a concept. It's important. And your podcast is, called Freedom Rings Podcast, and you can find it at freedomringspodcast.com.
That is so true. And yes, freedom rings. That's what we want to do, is just have it ring from shore to shore. And people can follow what we are doing at Freedom Rings Podcast. They can find us online. They can keep up with listen to these episodes. In the first 3 episodes that we launched yesterday, you have Senator Kelly Loeffler, amazing story, an amazing life. And she is from Georgia. You have Senator Rick Scott, who's from Florida, and a new face, Representative-elect Nancy Mace. Nancy has quite an amazing story. She was the first woman to graduate from the Citadel and has been in business, got involved in the political process, helping Senator Tim Scott and some folks in South Carolina, threw her hat in the ring, and she is going to be the new member of the U.S. House, and she is from Charleston.
Well, Senator Marsha Blackburn, one of the things that was interesting about the election, there are a lot of interesting things, some not interesting in a good way, but one of the interesting things was the way that so many of the Republicans who won were not what the media has been telling me a Republican is supposed to be some sort of white Northern European male, but the ideas that you stand for in your podcast, and your mission statement is faith, family, freedom, hope, and opportunity. That doesn't have a race or a gender or an ethnicity. That's something for everybody. And now we've got all these representatives who weren't picked because they check a box, but picked because they embody those 5 principles. Isn't that the way the Republicans need to move?
That's exactly right. And it's so hard for conservative women to have their voices heard, because the left wants women who are going to submit to their leftist agenda. So
I don't see you submitting, Senator Blackburn. In fact, my first question to you was going to be, what's your favorite caliber? Because that seems to be the kind of person you are, one who's going to stand up for America, one who loves our rights, and one who's never backing down.
Well, you've got that right, and that's why we're putting the focus on these incredible people who have interesting life journeys and who are so devoted to the cause of freedom, because they are the people that the American public needs to get to know.
Well, Senator Marsha Blackburn, we're all worried about Georgia the fate of the Senate, maybe the fate of our country, depends on this January 5th election. And there have been some people out there who are frankly, and I'm a graduate of the United States Army War College, I have a strategic studies degree, embracing a poor strategy of trying to send a message that Democrats shouldn't cheat by handing them this election. What are we doing down there to win this fight?
One of the things is the president was in on Saturday, and that was a very good thing, and encouraging everybody to vote. The fact that you don't like cheating, so you would not go vote. I mean, if a team is cheating, why would you walk off the playing field? This makes absolutely no sense at all. So, of course, we need to fight for every vote. And here is the interesting thing to me. You've got Chuck Schumer, who says, we're not going to fight for every vote in Georgia. We're not going to win in Georgia. We're going to go take Georgia. And he is willing, in order to be able to change America, which he says, first we're going to take Georgia, then we're going to change the country. They are willing to do whatever it takes in order to win Senate seats and have the Senate majority. So you're going to see a lot of focus on Georgia. If you are all in for socialism, you're going to be for Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff, who are the two most leftist, radical individuals to ever raise their hand and be Democratic Party nominees for the U.S. Senate. If you are for freedom and liberty, you're for Senator Kelly Loeffler and Senator David Perdue.
Well, here on the Hugh Hewitt radio program, Senator Blackburn, we have a very sophisticated audience, and their first question is, who is running this fight? Do we have our outstanding and super aggressive Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell taking a personal interest in this fight?
Oh, yes. Mitch is working hard on this. He is raising money. He has done TV ads. He has helped them, given them the resources that they need, that our volunteers have. You know, the interesting thing that they're doing in Georgia, they have a 1,000-person strike force that is out there doing personal contacts. They have already made over 1 million personal contacts to get people to the polls and to get them to go vote. And the early vote starts in Georgia on December 14th. The other thing, and all your listeners, if they know somebody in Georgia, tell them to go vote. If they are for the American dream, if they like the Trump tax cuts, if they like having their very own health insurance, if they are a senior-owned Medicare and want to keep it, if they believe we should not add people to the Supreme Court, which is what Chuck Schumer is going to do, if they don't think the city of Washington, D.C. should be made a state, which he has said he would do, if they do not think, if they want to, because the Democrats also are going to give statehood to Puerto Rico. So they need to think about it, you know, because Chuck Schumer has said they're going to take away your private health insurance and put all 57 million Medicare enrollees, every U.S. citizen into a Medicaid-type program. They call it the public option. They think that sounds better than saying government-run health care, which is what it is.
Well, Senator Blackburn, I think you made some news there. The Republicans have made 1 million voter contacts. What is our goal? How many million contacts is our goal for the Republicans in Georgia before the January 5th election?
They are going to contact every Republican voter. They are contacting every independent voter. They are getting the message out about what Senator Loeffler and Senator Perdue have been doing for the state of Georgia. Senator Loeffler was incredibly helpful as we were working on the CARES Act funding and looking at small
the PPP.
business. Right, the PPP. And so she has done a great job. David Perdue has been one of the leaders in our nation in funding and rebuilding the military. Remember, after the Obama-Biden years, the military was really just stripped. And David Perdue has been instrumental in getting the resources the military needs.
Wow.
And, of course, Georgia has more military posts and bases than any other state.
Oh, I served there, Senator Blackburn. I was at Fort Benning. Let me ask you a question real quick. I'm a small business owner. I took advantage of PPP to keep all my people employed, and I did. Here's a big question a lot of us are asking, and and if you can answer it, we have about 15 seconds. Will the Congress make the PPP money non-taxable? In other words, so we don't have to pay taxes on money we use to survive. Is that going to happen? Because that's very important to us.
I think you're going to see a big push to make that as a non-taxable, forgivable loan.
You are the best, Senator Blackburn. We'll have millions of businessmen loving you and women. Thank you. Stick around on the Hugh Hewitt program.
Thank you, Colonel.